right, let me get this over with, because I want to do it, and I'm going to do it, so I'm about to do it. I want to talk about my hatred or my disdain for Christopher Nolan's Batman Dark Knight trilogy. I love movies, and I love critiquing movies because it's fun. Movies are a big part of all of our lives, so it's fun critiquing them. And I love the Batman character. Character I've loved since I was little. Mother took me and my little sister. I remember she kept us home from school one day when I was a youngling, back in the late 80s, early 90s. This obviously would have been 89. So she kept us home from school. It was like an elementary school. And she's like, all right, kids, I'm keeping you home today, and I have a surprise for you, but first I need you to pick. What would you like to see? And this was 1989. So she was like, what would you like to see? Ghostbusters 2 or Batman? Tim Burton's Batman. And we're like, wait, we're staying home from school and you want us to pick between, what the fuck? Why would we say Ghostbusters? We want to see Batman. So we went to see Batman, loved it as a youngling. And then Batman the Animated Series came out. I was a little bit older, maybe a couple years older at that point. And I was blown away. Loved the show. So obviously after the show, I really got into the comics, into the character himself, because now I wanted to know more about all these unique, different characters. Batman, Robin, Alfred, Scarecrow, Maxie Zeus, Clock King, all these cool, weird characters. You want to get to know about them now. So I get into the character, fall in love with the character. Great. I get older. Batman the movie is out of the theaters. And then all these other Batman movies come out. Batman Returns, which was kind of bad. It was kind of bad. Then you got Batman Forever, which I begged my father to take me to see it. And I was actually embarrassed that my father had to sit through the movie. That's how bad it was. And then Batman and Robin, at that point, I was like, I'm obviously not going to go see this in the movies because that last one was so bad. So even though Robin is such a cool character, one of my favorite characters in, I guess I could say, literature, I was like, I want to see Robin on the big screen, but I'm not going to go see this garbage in the movies. And I was right. Obviously, it was one of the worst things ever made by mankind. So then a long period goes by, and gotta look for traffic. And then you have no Batman movies for a while, and then they announce Christopher Nolan, who I didn't really know of at the time, I don't think. Christopher Nolan is making a new Batman trilogy, and I was like, great, it's gonna be a new gritty Batman. Should be better than the stuff that came out before. Maybe not better than Burton's, but maybe. I'm excited. So Batman Begins come out. I didn't get to see that. I don't know what I was doing in 2005, but I just never got around to seeing it. So by the time I had the time to go and see it, it was already out on DVD. So I bought the DVD, was excited, I put it on, and I was disappointed. And it was not only was I disappointed, but it was kind of boring. It bored me. So I was a little let down by that. I was like, oh, all right. So then the sequel comes out, Dark Knight. This is 2008, and I wasn't too excited to see it, but everyone kept saying that, this is the greatest Batman of all time, and Heath Ledger did such a great job. So I was like, maybe I'll go see it, but I was still a little reluctant to see it. Nobody I knew really wanted to see it for some reason, probably because they thought what I thought about Batman Begins. So put that off, and then there was this girl that I liked. She wanted to go see it, so obviously I was like, all right, well, let's go. So then I went to see it, and I was disappointed again. So by the time The Dark Knight Rises returns, I made up of my mind. I was like, I'm obviously not going to go see this. So I downloaded that for free, and I watched it, and of course that was a piece of garbage. So I was like, all right, this trilogy sucks, but everyone keeps saying such great things about it. I went online, and no one really agreed with me on the things that I thought, other than, Christian Bale's Batman voice. Everyone, I think, is unanimous that he sucked balls role. But I've been going back and forth with this all the time, and I said, well, now I'm going to do a little video on it. Why not? I got nothing else to do. I'm just sitting here driving all day. So, well, not all day. I'm just driving to work. But I'm driving to work through this countryside. I might as well make a little video about the Batman. So this is my reasons why I think. I don't want to just say that the trilogy sucks, because I got to get, everyone loves it, so I got to give reasons. So I'm going to give those reasons. Before I start the reasons, I do want to say I like Christopher Nolan as a director. I like the work that he's done. The Prestige is to me, one of the greatest movies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies. I love the movie. Memento was a pretty good movie. Inception wasn't a great movie, but it was interesting, it was different, and it was unique, and that's why I give him credit. Movies like The Prestige and Inception, those are you don't see a lot of those movies. So I like that he is the type of creator who wants to create, and he now has the ability to do it, so he's doing it. He has this new World War II movie coming out. Maybe I'll go see that. But I like Christopher Nolan. I don't think he's a horrible person. I just think he wasn't good for the job. And the people obviously responsible for writing, I think his brother helped. They just didn't do a good job writing. To me, it seemed like they didn't know enough about the character, and they didn't care to learn enough about the character to really make it their own. All right? Now, I'm going to be reading stuff, because these are actual, I call the channel Random Rants, because I really do rants, and I lose focus, so I got to read. So I'm reading, I'm recording, and I'm driving at the same time. So if I die here and this becomes a found footage thing, send the proceeds to my mother. I mean, her and my dad, they don't need the money, but it'd be nice for them to have it. So my first point that I'm going to go over as to why I think the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy sucks, the big one, number one, for me, Liam Neeson. See, I had to read it. I got to look down. There's a truck right in front of me. So, Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson was not cast properly. He shouldn't have been cast in the role. The reasons I say that is this. Liam Neeson, obviously, you see him in Darkman and Taken. He's an imposing figure. You don't want one of Batman's villains to tower over him. Batman he's only 6'2". I mean, I'm shorter than that, but he's only 6'2", and in this day and age, 6'2" is not that tall anymore. That's kind of getting to average. People are getting taller and taller, but from Batman's inception, he was always known as a tall, imposing figure. So you don't want a character like Ra's al Ghul, who in the comic books never towered over Batman, to be someone in his first time on the big screen to be cast in a way where he's this giant figure who's towering over Bruce. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you'd pick him. Should have picked someone like maybe Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton probably would have been a great. He played Bond. He was in a few movies. British actor. He was in Hot Fuzz. Watch Hot Fuzz and look at Timothy Dalton there, and then watch Batman the Animated Series. Don't they look like they could be? Don't they look similar? Similar. I mean, and he's probably around the same height as Christian Bale, so they would look like equals. They wouldn't look like they're like one is more powerful than the other. And they shouldn't look that way, because Ra's al Ghul in the comic books and in the stories and in the television show, he's not that type of person. He's not that type of character, rather. Where you look at him and you're like, oh, Batman's getting his ass handed to him. You don't get any of that. So I wouldn't have cast Liam Neeson. I don't know why he was in the role, but he was in the role. I didn't like that. So that threw me when I saw that in Batman Begins. And then about Batman Begins, my second point is Ra's al Ghul. Why would you put Ra's al Ghul as the villain in the very first movie? An introduction to Batman. Ra's al Ghul's character is too big of a character to put in the very first movie, especially when you're exploring Batman's origins as well. That's just too much to have to do. that should be reserved for maybe the end of the trilogy, where you can have this epic story where Batman goes overseas to confront this character. You don't throw him in the first movie. There was no... one of the big things about Ra's al Ghul, the little twists about him, is he's this old guy. You find out he's lived for centuries, and the reason he's lived so long is he's found these things called the Lazarus Pit that he can throw himself into, and his body is able to withstand whatever it does to you, and he comes out youthful. So it's basically made him immortal. That's like the big part. That's a big part of Ra's al Ghul, but that wasn't in the movie. There was no mention of the Lazarus Pits at all. Why have Ra's al Ghul in the movie and have no Lazarus Pits? That was stupid. So the whole Liam Neeson, Ra's al Ghul thing was bad. The cherry on the top of the cake, again, I think Nolan just didn't care about the characters. Nobody in the production team cared to know anything or figure anything out or do any research, because in the movie they kept calling him Ra's al Ghul. I'm like, who the fuck is Ra's al Ghul?
Now, am I pronouncing this right? Mr. Ra's al Ghul?
You're not Ra's al Ghul.
How do you get that so wrong? Such a little thing. His name is Ra's al Ghul. It may not be a big deal to other people, but to fans, it's like, why? You couldn't even get his name pronounced properly? This is 2005. All you got to do is go online and go onto the YouTubes and click a video and his name is pronounced Ra's. If you can't pronounce it, you just go online. It'll take like 10 seconds. And you'll find out that his name is Ra's. It's not Raz. That's just laziness. And it annoys me when people who are getting paid so much money to do such a small amount of work can't get things done properly, done right. So right, those are the first two reasons. The next reason is a biggie, and it's Batman's origin story. Not necessarily his origins, let me put it this way, not Bruce's origin story, Batman's origin story. Batman's origin story, they tried to do in this movie, but all it amounted to was him doing some ninja training. Batman's not just a ninja. There's a reason that Batman can stand alongside giants like Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter. He's able to fight alongside them once in a while because he has perfected so many different things on this planet that it has made him really effective in combat. He's not only an expert martial artist, an expert in many forms of fighting, but he's a master detective. He's a master escape artist. He's an acrobat. He knows all of these languages. There's so much about this character that I was hoping I would see in this movie. And they didn't do any of it. All they did was, he's a ninja. He trained to be a ninja, and now he can do anything. What? He was a ninja, and I think they showed him go to jail. He went to jail in Asia. So he trained to be a criminal and a ninja. A criminal ninja. That was it. That's what makes Batman Batman. No, it's not. And again, laziness, because you couldn't afford to do any real research, or you didn't care about the character. Why couldn't you just put Scarecrow in the movie? He could have been the villain. You don't have to focus on him too much. You have one villain, and the rest of your focus would be on Bruce Wayne turning into Batman. But they didn't want to do that, so fine. Everyone loved it. I hated it, and that's a big reason for me, that you didn't really get to see how Bruce Wayne goes from just being a rich kid to being this unstoppable human, this unstoppable force. You don't get to see that. In all seriousness, if you watch the movie, Batman is training to be a ninja, and there's a whole bunch of other ninjas. He's in this League of Shadows, and there's a whole bunch of other men in the League of Shadows. So basically what you're telling me is there's a whole league of Batmen, because all of these guys can be Batman. They just need some money. Only thing that differentiates him from the other guys in the League of Shadows is that he's rich. But these guys are criminals, so if they steal money and they have some money under their belt, they can be Batman too. Obviously, there's a whole league of Batmen out there. What makes him different? Why was Bruce able to fight against the League of Shadows when he didn't even train to be a member as long as they did? That takes away from the character and it takes away from the story, and it's lazy, and it bothered me. So that was reason 3. Reason 4, come on, buddy, make the turn so I can look down and read. Fuck you, I'm gonna go around you. Reason 4, and I know a lot of people, a lot of women anyway, are gonna hate me. I don't think a lot of people watch these videos anyway, but if women watch it, I know you're gonna hate me, and I'm not a misogynist, but let me make my point. Rachel Dawes. My first point about Rachel Dawes is, why is she in the movie? Why this character who's been, at this point, such an integral part of people's lives, and an integral part of the comic industry for this long, and has so many different characters in the whole lore and the story. Why do you need to create a new character and bring it in? Who's Rachel Dawes? It's a character that they created for the movie. Why? Why do you need to create a character? There's so many other female characters that you could pick. Why create one? Minor annoyance for me, but it was an annoyance. The other annoyance is, I didn't mind Katie Holmes, but I minded Maggie Gyllenhaal. She is ugly. I'm sorry. She has a dog face, and I know I'm ugly too, but I'm not in the movies. She's ugly. Why cast Maggie Gyllenhaal out of all the actresses on the planet? Why cast her? She's ugly. You're talking about Bruce Wayne. This guy has access to every woman in Gotham City. Probably every woman in Metropolis, probably every woman in that universe. I think Batman slept with Wonder Woman at one point. That means Bruce Wayne is the man. Now, Bruce Wayne isn't shallow. He won't go for the prettiest girl who may happen to be stupid or dumb. But Maggie Gyllenhaal? Jesus Christ. She has like a puppy dog face, and not in a good way. I don't understand why you couldn't cast anyone else. Minor annoyance, so I'm not going to go into that, but one last thing I want to say about that, so people don't think I'm a misogynist. Let's say you did a movie about, I don't know, Hawk Girl. And Hawk Girl comes to Earth, and she's beautiful, this beautiful redhead with these emerald green eyes. And the love interest that she has is this actor that they cast. And his name is Jamie Kennedy. I'm sure people would say the same thing. Why'd you pick Jamie Kennedy for a love interest? This woman can get most men. Why would she go after Jamie Kennedy? And that's the same thing I have to say about Maggie Gyllenhaal. Why would a character like Bruce, I mean, I know why, because he grew up with her in the movie, so he loved her, but still, just, damn, Maggie Gyllenhaal? Fuck. All right, I'm going to get past that, because I'm sure women are going to be like, he's ugly too, and why does he hate women? I don't hate women. I just hate that she was cast in that role. Why did you cast Natalie Portman? Jeez. Natalie. All right. Next is Heath Ledger. I'm going to be real quick on this because nobody agrees with me on this. And I don't see all the love I don't see why everyone loved his role so much. He did a good job. He didn't do a bad job. He didn't do a horrible job. He did a job. All I saw is an actor trying to appear crazy. That's what I saw. That's what I did. Jack Nicholson, and it's probably something he's perfected for a long time. It's just the type of actor that he is. You've seen it in other movies like The Shining. Jack Nicholson appeared crazy. There's a scene in 1989's Batman where you first get introduced to the Joker, and he's sitting at the desk and he looks at the newspaper and he reads an article about Batman, and he looks up at the camera and he says, "Wait till they get a load of me." That perfection. That was creepy. It showed someone that had problems. It just screamed, this guy is nuts and he's dangerous. That one scene screamed that.
Gotham City always brings a smile to my face. Winged freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
There were no scenes like that for me in The Dark Knight Rises. I didn't see any of that. I just saw Heath Ledger trying to be crazy. Not only that, but their interaction with each other. Batman's interaction with the Joker, it wasn't good for me. I didn't see it. When they were in the jail cell and they meet for the first time and he slams his head on the table and he's like yelling at him in his stupid Batman voice, and Heath Ledger has actually helped that scene because Christian Bale was really destroying it. I didn't see that chemistry I didn't see that the grandness in that scene where you have these two iconic enemies coming together for the first time in this series. I didn't see it.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the neck. See?
You wanted me. Here I am.
I wanted to see what you'd do. And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Where's Dent?
Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
And why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. You complete me.
You're garbage. You kills for money.
Don't talk like one of them. You're not.
And that may have been the fault of the writers, but could have also been the fault of the actors. So I didn't see it. I didn't love Heath Ledger as the Joker. Also, I felt that he looked too young. Joker shouldn't look younger than Batman. That shouldn't happen. He's never appeared as a character who is younger than Bruce. He's always appeared to be someone who was older. So why cast someone who looks younger? I mean, he looked like a college kid who would put on some makeup and was doing crazy stuff for attention. That's what he looked like. It wasn't like this guy who's drudged his way through life and then finally reaches this point where he snaps in his older age and he becomes this nut job. I didn't see that. I just saw a kid trying to act crazy. So I didn't like that. I'm going to get off of that now, and I'll just let you guys digest that. Next one is the fucking Tumbler tank. Now, Batman is not only in the comic books and in the movies and in the television series, is he portrayed as someone who's quiet and sneaky and someone who uses stealth. In this movie, he's trained to be a ninja. He's trained to be quiet and sneaky and someone who uses stealth. That's how he's trained in the movie. But he has this giant megaton fuck tank that rolls through the city, waking everyone up. So everybody knows, here comes fucking Batman. You hear that shit? That must be Batman. Let's stop doing what we're doing and hide.
I'll get my car.
I brought mine.
Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
He is in a vehicle.
Make a color?
It's a black tank.
Not only that, but in the first movie, he drives the tank up the side of a fucking building. He's supposed to be a hero. Why would you drive something so dangerous? What if someone was like, what's all that noise? And they stuck their head out of the window and said, oh shit, a fucking tank, and got decapitated. Why would he drive something like that? Again, not paying attention to the character, not caring about the character, not doing any real research on the character. Why would he drive something like that? Tim Burton got it right. He had a small car. It was kind of loud, but it wasn't loud enough where you're going to wake up the entire neighborhood when you go into the bodega up the street.
Get in the car.
Which one?
That doesn't make any sense that he would drive something so dangerous, something so loud and so fucking obnoxious. That was stupid, and it was bad writing. So that was that, the Tumbler. Stupid ass vehicle. All right, what's next? Bane. We're just gonna go from movie to movie. I'm skipping around. Fuck it, who cares? Bane. Now, a lot of people do agree that Dark Knight Rises was garbage. But these are my reasons why the trilogy as a whole is garbage, because Nolan was responsible for all three of them. So you got Bane. First of all, nowhere in the comics did Bane ever wear a respirator harmonica on his face. That never happened. I don't understand why they sat down and said, you know what, let's give him a distorted voice and strap a electronic respirator harmonica on his mouth. Where did that come from?
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big guy.
For you.
Where was the mask? Why couldn't he wear some type of mask? Maybe you don't want to do a luchador mask because, you know, I don't know, maybe that's racist? I don't know. But why not give him the mask? And shit, I didn't even write this down. I just realized it. More whitewashing. Why did you not make Bane South American? Holy shit, I can't believe I never realized that before. Why is he white? Why couldn't you make him South American? Imagine fucking Javier Bardem as Bane. Could you imagine that shit? The fucking guy from No Country for Old Men, Anton Chigurh. Could you imagine him as Bane? Fuck, I never even thought about that until just now. In the movie, he's white. He's played by a British actor. A great actor, Tom Hardy, but a British actor nonetheless. Why not make him South American? And if they did, because I don't remember what his name was in the movie, why not cast a South American actor or Mexican actor? Or at least, if you're going to cast a European actor, fucking Spanish actor. Someone from Spain or Portugal or some shit. Wow. But, alright. That is a complaint that I just actually realized. But the harmonica mask, that was stupid. What else? Oh, other thing. So in the movie, for some unknown fuck all reason, Bane raises Ra's al Ghul's daughter. When the fuck did that happen in the comic books? That never happened. So why? Bane. All right. In the prison, Talia al Ghul, I think she's in prison, and Bane protects her from like all these prisoners. So if Bane is strong enough at this point to protect her, he's got to be like 20, 25. He can't be like some young, inexperienced kid. He's got to have some combat experience, some training. So he's got to be like at least like around 25 years old. And at the time when he's protecting her in the movie, she's a little kid. So let's say 15 years pass. 15 years, that would make Bane about 40 years old in his 40s. So this guy's a 40-year-old convict with respiratory issues, yet he beats Batman like a little bitch. And this isn't like the television, like the comic series where it makes sense why Bane breaks Batman. In the comic books, Bane is smart enough to realize I'm not beating this guy straight on. So what I need to do is I need to wear him out. I need to bring him to the point of exhaustion, and then I need to surprise him, and then I'll fight him because I'm strong enough, I know, to beat him then. And that's what he does. Batman comes, he deduces his identity, so he goes and waits in his fucking house. After wearing him out, Bruce goes home, takes off the Batman suit, he lowers his guard because he's at home, he's all comfortable, and you know how you feel when you're at home and you're in your PJs or in your nude. You know, you feel more uncomfortable and maybe more vulnerable in that state. So he walks into his fucking hallway or kitchen, and his big ass luchador is standing there waiting for him. He's like, oh, what's this? And that's when Bane beats the crap out of him. So it makes sense in the comic book. They don't do any of that here. Batman, who just walks straight in, ready for a fight, well rested. He has, I think something was wrong with his knees, so they gave him like a bionic knee brace that healed him or something. So he's like 100%. And he walks in ready to fight, and Bane beats him like a child. He beats Batman like he's a little baby. He kicks his ass. I mean, it's like an embarrassing fight. So you're telling me that a 40-year-old convict with respiratory issues beats the crap out of Batman like that? Then he breaks his back. Batman goes to prison. His back magically heals in like a week. Oh man, his back heals in like a week. He comes back to Gotham, confronts Bane. Now his back is a little wanky. But he beats the shit out of Bane like Bane's a child. It doesn't make any sense. They don't show any real progression as to why he was able to beat Bane so easily this time. It's just, hey, you're stupid and you paid to see this movie. Watch it. Watch this. So I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that Bane raised Talia. That made no sense. Just making up stuff to conveniently craft a shitty story so that you can put it on a big screen and have people pay to see it. I didn't like that. Didn't like the fact that Batman couldn't beat Bane. Not even that he couldn't beat him, that he didn't stand a chance. So that was bad. Let me move on because it's getting hot in here. And this stupid camera will overheat and turn off. Piece of shite. Next issue, John Blake. I think that was his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. To me, one of the great actors of our time. But the character, John Blake, again, same issue. Why are you fucking creating characters? This huge roster of characters to choose from, and you got to create characters. Who's John Blake? Stupid. Don't do that. Just read the story. Pay some respect to the creators, to Bill Finger and Bob Kane, and to the fans who have paid all of this money over the years to make this such a valuable property. Just give us just pay some respect to all of those people and just make a movie based on the story. So John Blake, you create this character for some unknown reason, and then the character just doesn't make sense. All right. So Bruce meets John Blake and realizes John Blake has deduced his identity or figured out his identity. He knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
He needs you. He needs the Batman.
Commissioner Gordon thinks...
Oh, he doesn't know or care who you are. But we've met before. It was a long time ago. I was a kid. St. Swithin's. So you showed up this one day. In a cool car. Pretty girl on your arm. We were so excited. Bruce Wayne, billionaire orphan. Right when I saw you, I knew who you really were.
Which means this guy's smart and potentially maybe dangerous, but he's smart because he's that smart to figure that out. No one else has been able to. The cops, the detectives, his enemies, no one's been able to figure this out. So John Blake is somebody you want to keep an eye on. You knew who I was. I think he figured out who he was when he was a kid. So he meets John Blake. I think he interacts with him like 2 or 3 times. He knows him for, let's say, a week. Let's say 5 days total, which I'm being generous because the amount of time that he was able to interact with John Blake equaled to probably 24 to 30 hours total. You put all the time that he was with him was probably a day's worth.
Hey, thanks.
Don't thank me yet.
Why might I get a chance later?
but let's say he knew him for a week, right? So you know this guy for a week, and you know that he's smart enough to figure out who you are. But at the end of the movie, you let him become the new Batman. Oh! Sorry, dude, I didn't know what you were doing. I just went around a truck and he honked at me. Can you see him? Holy shit, I almost died. So, what was I saying? Sorry, I almost died. So, he gives John Blake all of his equipment. Now, obviously that was stupid, but what really bothered me about it is, if you think this lady's going to talk to me. Some lady just reprimanded me for going around the truck, and I didn't want to stop recording to curse her out. Damn, I just missed a good opportunity to curse someone out. So, if you really sit down and you think about it, Bruce Wayne, or Batman, is someone who has dedicated his entire life to protecting Gotham City, protecting everything. He sacrificed a regular life. He puts his life on the line. He puts the life of his friends and co-workers on the line. Alfred, Dick Grayson, Lucius, all these people that he knows, he kind of puts their lives on the line because he believes that he has to protect Gotham. That's what he does. So someone who is that dedicated to protecting the lives of people in Gotham would not give over access to all of his equipment, all his death-dealing equipment, the dangerous gases, the poisons, the weapons, all the information, the files that he has on everyone. He wouldn't just hand that shit over to somebody he knew for a fucking week. Hey, I just fucking met you. Here's access to enough equipment to topple a fucking country, and I'm just gonna give it to you. There you go. Bye. He's obviously going to need Batman's money to keep this stuff going. So did he give him his money too? That made, my God, there's so much stupid stuff in this trilogy that nobody paid attention to. No way would Bruce Wayne give all of that dangerous equipment to someone he knew for a couple of days or a week at most. I mean, he's reluctant to give access to people like Dick Grayson. It takes him a while to just give that stuff over. He's not that type of person, not that type of character. And again, it's just laziness and disrespect for the lore and for the character and for the series. That's what it was. It was just disrespectful. So that was my issue with John Blake. I'm getting down to the wire because I'm almost at work. I only got 2 more, and the last one is, for me, it's a biggie. But second to last is Alfred's betrayal at the end of Dark Knight Rises. Maybe you don't want to call it betrayal, but I don't want to call it betrayal either, but Alfred turning his back on Bruce at the end. Or actually, I think it was the beginning or the middle. He just says, I'm leaving. And when I was watching the movie, I'm like, oh, shucks, he's leaving. That's a little weird. But he never comes back. He never comes back, which meant that in that story, Alfred just abandoned him.
You leave me?
You see only one end to your journey. Leaving is all I have to make you understand.
Now, the reason that didn't make sense to me is this. When you think about the Batman character, and you think about his sidekicks, you think about Robin, you think about Batgirl, and characters like that, maybe Azrael to a lesser extent, but you think about those types of characters, Nightwing. But Robin and Batgirl and Nightwing, those aren't his real sidekicks. Those aren't his biggest sidekicks. If you really think about it, Alfred is Batman's sidekick. He's been his sidekick since the beginning. Since Bruce decided to be Batman, Alfred has been his sidekick. Alfred is the one he calls for help. Alfred is the one that gives him hints and suggestions, does research for him. Alfred is the one that tends to his wounds. Alfred is the one that maintains the Batcave. Alfred is his sidekick. He is more integral to that Batman character than Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, any of the other characters put together. He probably knows more about the guy. In fact, he does know more about Batman as a man than all of those other characters because he raised him. He's always been there. He's put his life on the line. So to have this character in the movie just up and abandon his best friend and almost, son type person that he may think of as a son when he needs him the most. That's not following the story. That's not following the character. That's not what the character would do. Alfred would never do that. He would never just say, well, I'm leaving you for good, especially when you need me the most, and I'm going to go on fucking vacation in Rome. I'm going to Europe, and I'm going to leave you here. Sorry. Fuck you, Bruce. That would never happen. I watched that scene, and I was like, wait, Alfred's really not coming back? He just goes on vacation, and at the end, he just, out of all the places on the planet to go vacation, Alfred just happens to run into Bruce. They just happen to go on vacation to the same fucking place. Oh shoot, look, it's Bruce over there in the same cafe that I'm in. And that's a little weird. No, it's not, because people are stupid. They don't pay attention. So that bothered me. The fact that Alfred would just, that they would write it to say that Alfred would just abandon his best friend. They've got to be best friends. They got to be best friends. Bruce talks about Robin as a soldier. That's probably how he really thinks of him. This soldier that helps me. That's why he's able to go through so many of them. He's had like 4 Robins at this point, including his own son. So he probably thinks of them as expendable soldiers. I'm sorry, but that's probably how he thinks of them. He don't think of Alfred like that. Alfred is his best friend. He's like an uncle to him or like a father to him. So that was just stupid. Now my last point. Jeez, I'm really cutting into the wire here. Christian Bale, that was his worst performance. The fact that no one stopped him and said, look, dude, why do you sound like a 90-year-old retired death metal emphysema patient?
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Why no one stopped him and said, why are you talking like this? What's wrong with you?
Where's the trigger? Where is it? You never give it to an ordinary citizen. Where is it? Where's the trigger? Where is it? Where is it?
That boggles my brain that he was allowed to do that shit for 3 movies. No one said, look, Batman doesn't sound like this. You sound like a fucking idiot. Nobody stopped him to say that.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines.
The fact that he would do that is just... Sorry, I forgot. There was one thing I had to add. Very important. And I almost forgot. My add-on to the whole Christian Bale sucks as Batman, and also ties into the whole point that the Nolan brothers didn't give a crap or care about the Batman story or the character, is the fact that no one told Christian Bale that he was portraying Bruce Wayne in the wrong way. If you're a fan of the series and you're a fan of the series, the character and the story, you're probably a fan of the animated series. And if you've watched the animated series, you'll see there that Bruce Timm, Kevin Conroy, and the writers and producers there for the show, they knew the character and they got the character right. They got the character right because Bruce Wayne is the actual alter ego. Batman is the man. Batman is who Bruce Wayne turned into. And as a result, the Bruce Wayne character that he created for the outside world is now the alter ego. So when you see Batman in the movie talking in his old death metal retired emphysema voice, that wouldn't make any sense because, as in the animated series, Batman talks the way that Bruce Wayne talks when he's around people that know everything about him, like Alfred and Dick and Barbara.
From now on, Tony Zuko gets my undivided attention.
How fortunate for Zuko. Because there's a little boy up there who's just aching for some of that attention.
I'm doing this for him.
I'm sure revenge can be deliciously sweet. However, at the moment, he needs a friend. Isn't that what you needed, sir?
That's his regular voice. He uses the same voice at home that he uses as Batman. When he's out in public around strangers and people that don't know that he's Batman, then he puts on the fake voice. That's when he puts on the act. And Christian Bale and the other people that were responsible for that trilogy, for some reason, didn't understand that or get that, and it annoyed me. Bruce Wayne is the act and the alter ego. Batman is the man. So he shouldn't have been talking the way that he did. He should have, I mean, in the movie, he had 3 identities. He had the Bruce Wayne identity at home, he had the Bruce Wayne identity in public, and then he had the death metal Batman identity when he was Batman. That made no sense, and it was lazy, and it showed that they didn't give a fuck. They knew that they could make this movie however they wanted to make it, and that people were going to pay to see it. And I just had to add that in because I couldn't forget to add that in. That was an integral part of my complaint. So I'm now going to switch back over to what I recorded prior. Yep. So not only was he a bad Batman, not only did the costume people do poorly, because, come on, man. Come on. He has like his cowl on with a little hole for his mouth, a suede cape. He had a suede cape on. He just looked stupid. I mean, this big movie, and you have Batman in this big trilogy looking the dumbest he's ever looked in any of the recent Batman films. I mean, this Batman looked dumber than even George Clooney's Batman at least looked better than this Batman. So the Batman character, I mean, it's the main character in the story. He talks like a fucking retard, and he's dressed like a Mookaluk imbecile. Nobody cared because they knew people were going to pay to go see it. People did. So why would you care if someone's going to pay to see it? Christian Bale did a bad job. Bruce Wayne, they didn't do a good job as Bruce Wayne. I mean, he did a passable job as Bruce Wayne, but there was nothing stood out about his Bruce Wayne character. It's just a character. And then his Batman character was obviously a joke. I mean, obviously everyone, when I first heard him say, "Swear to me," in the first movie, I think my head was about to explode. I had to hold it together because it was like bubbling, like the characters in Fist of the North Star. I thought it was going to explode. I was like, what? And then my mouth exploded with laughter. I was like, did he? What? I think that was the first thing out of his mouth. No, it wasn't. I think he said, "Here, right here," or something like that to somebody. But when he says "swear to me," that was... But the worst part, the funniest part is in The Dark Knight. When he, in the very beginning, in his first time you see him in The Dark Knight, where he stops these people and these 2 guys who dress up as Batman, he's tying them up, and they're rightfully so asking him, "Why are you tying us up? We're just doing the same thing you do. You're not a cop. Why the fuck are you tying me up? I'm doing exactly what you do. What gives you the right to put me in jail? I haven't broken any law. I do what you do." And then you hear him just break out with this retarded line.
What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Oh, so bad. So bad. I'm not wearing hockey pads. And he says it, I want to joke around and say it, but I look really stupid saying it. If Christian Bale looks stupid saying it, I'm really going to look dumb saying it. But that scene was just, so bad. Brings me to my last point. The bad writing. Now, I call it bad writing because it is bad writing, and I'll explain. So, that scene I just explained, I just went over, where he's where he's stopping the, you know, the Russian gangbangers in the van. So in that scene, in the beginning of that, or before that, he is going to stop them as they're driving away. So they're in this parking lot. Sorry, I was parking. And he's going to stop them. So he climbs up on top of a ledge, jumps down like 4 or 5 stories, lands on top of the van, and destroys the van. He crushes the van. He crushed the van. His bone, he didn't break his legs. He didn't break his legs. He didn't rupture anything inside in his internal parts. Nothing was ruptured. I mean, is he like a cyborg? How did that happen? Another scene, which was bad writing, and it was 2 parts to the whole scene. I'm just gonna go into the scene. So in this scene, Joker shows up in a penthouse. This is in the Dark Knight, and he's threatening people. He's in Batman's penthouse, and he's like, he's gonna kill people, and I'm doing this, and I'm a bad guy, yada yada. And he has everyone held hostage, and he's talking stuff. He goes up to ugly Rachel Dawes, and he's like, he's you know what, threatening her, and she slaps him, and he says, "Oh, I like you." And Batman says, "Well, you're gonna love me." Now, if you're watching the movie, like I was watching it, I don't know, maybe a lot of people were looking at their loved ones or their children in the theater next to them, or maybe they were eating popcorn. But I'm watching the scene, and in the scene, they're in like a big-ass square room. The room is filled with partygoers. It's also filled with Joker's goons. They're all around him with guns, just amongst the crowd, all around him in the room. All of these people standing around. It's one big room, and Batman just appears. It's a well-lit room. They're having a party. He just appears in the middle of the room. Nobody saw him. Where did he come from? Joker's wrecked him? He couldn't have come up out of the ground, because guess what? Someone would have seen him. Couldn't have come from the ceiling, because guess what? Someone would have fucking seen him. Where did he come from? Nobody, none of the partygoers said, "Oh, shit, it's Batman." None of the goons said, "Oh, boss, Batman's right there." When he opened the door and just walked into the middle of the room where they were, nobody saw him.
You look nervous. Is it the scars? You want to know how I got them? Come here. Hey. Look at me. So I had a wife. She was beautiful. Like you. Who tells me I worry too much? Who tells me I ought to smile more? Now I'm always smiling. A little fight in you. I like that. And you're gonna love me.
Does that make any sense? Then Joker throws Rachel Dawes out of the window. Batman goes after her. Now this is Batman's penthouse. Bruce Wayne's penthouse. Bruce Wayne is the richest man, probably one of the richest men in the planet in that universe. So he would have a penthouse that's pretty high up, because it's a penthouse. He's Bruce Wayne. He's trying to show that I'm this wealthy millionaire. So he'd have this gaudy lifestyle. So his penthouse would be pretty high up. So he jumps out of the window, catches her in midair. They fall through the air. They don't slow their descent in any way. They both land on a car, and again, they destroy the car. Neither of them are hurt. And this bitch is wearing a cocktail dress. How did she not break her legs and her arms, her ribs, her shoulder, her skull, her neck? Nothing broke?
Let her go.
Very poor choice of words.
Let's not do that again. Is Harvey okay?
He's safe.
Thank
you. She just got up and was like, "Oh shit, that was rough," or something like that. Does that make any sense? Nobody paid attention to these things? Oh my gosh, just stupidity all around. And I named my reasons, and I'm at work, and I got to be there in 5 minutes, so I got to stop. If you agree with me, tell me. If you don't agree with me, which none of you will, then you'll tell me, obviously. But, yeah. Fuck you, Christopher Nolan.